Alright, let's see what I got here. A couple cans. Spray sealant. It's such a waste to send it in two things, but one order came from a couple different areas. Alright, Krylon UV resistant clear. It's Krylon, the art sprays at least. There might be some kind of more industrial uses for Krylon, for, I don't know, furniture, things like that. But they're art sprays, and they always kind of mention it on the can of what the uses are for. Especially for something like this that has a UV resistant clear. Protects against UV rays. I guess that would be good for any kind of thing though, like furniture and whatever. But non-yellowing permanent coating, so assuming that's the case, it's probably museum quality, archival, moisture resistant, and dries in minutes. Not the fastest drying one, but not bad. And the way that I see it, this can here cost about the same thing as the Krylon Crystal Clear, and that's something that I used to use all the time. I don't know when I kind of switched over to the UV resistant clear. UV resistant clear, I don't know, it's practically the same price, so if you're going to get Krylon, one of the Krylon sprays, this is a good one to go with. I don't know, if the can was like $4 cheaper or something like that for Krylon Crystal Clear, you know, maybe that's something you might want to consider. Alright, but here's a can spray that I haven't used before, and that's the Krylon Workable Fixative. Okay, so this one right here protects against pencil, pastel, and chalk drawings. Prevents smudging and wrinkling. Allows easy rework. And again, it's acid-free and archival. So a couple different types of spray by the same maker. Now, one thing about the Workable Fixative is it's not going to be a gloss coating, okay? They want to retain kind of as close to, you know, the original looking surface quality that you'd be working on for things like dry media, such as the pastels and chalks and pencils, okay? And you also have to be able to draw over them and add additional layers if that's what you're doing. A lot of people just use it when they're done with the drawing to seal it off so that, you know, it prevents against smudging and things like that. When you put things in storage, when it's, you know, talking about things like pastels and things like that, you know, it can easily just flake off. So it seals it in. But some people do it in layers. They'll work it and work it and work it. And if you know things like chalks and pastels, if you try to go over kind of a heavily built up area, you know, with another layer, it could, you know, you could be kind of removing the bottom layers on there. So what you do is you seal them off, and then you go with more layers above it, and you can keep, you know, building up your layers that way. You just have to be careful when you're spraying anything, you know, with these types of things. It can change kind of the spirit of what the piece is looking like presently, especially with these types of things. With pastels or chalks, it could get, you know, it could coat things and make a lot of times lighter layers seem a little bit more translucent or transparent, where you lose kind of those highlights on there. So that being said, standard spray painting, you know, distance conventions, you know, so usually when you're spraying with something like this, you want to go, unless you're some kind of spray paint artisan where you're, you know, you're pressing low and then you're doing some kind of little gestural thing where you're getting some kind of little spot. But for things like this where you're spraying and protecting, you know, I'd say between 8 and 12 inches, and I usually start off my scene and I work onto it kind of in short bursts, okay? And then I'll just hit it in certain areas. So if I want kind of a thicker coating in any given location, and if I don't want some of the little highlights to disappear. So personally, when I'm spraying something with white pigment ink on it, like these beams right here, those beams are really susceptible to disappearing upon coating. Okay, they'll become much more transparent to the point of, if you really spray it, it can kind of put them back into solution, meaning they'll kind of dissolve, or they just become so transparent, translucent that they practically go transparent and they disappear altogether. So what you do is you hit this from a good distance with a very light coat, and the light coat is going to dry very quickly and seal, and then you hit it with another couple coats or so, so that it didn't give the time for the pigment ink to transform, to become transparent, disappear, etc. Just a coating seals it in. And then what you can do, like around here on the perimeter, I'd probably hit it with a stronger coat just to bring out more of the value of something indicative of a freshly stamped and colored piece. Usually the inks look a little bit darker when freshly applied with certain brands. So light coats over the whole thing, and then kind of a heavier coating around the perimeter with the spray. Alright, now the spray things, some people have asked me about are these little handles. I like this trigger right here. You know, normally you're hitting it like this, but if you're doing a lot of this type of thing, these types of handles are really convenient. This one's by Rust-Oleum. They're all pretty standard. You know, they're all going to fit that standard size of a spray paint. I don't know what you call this little ring right here, but those are all standard and fit all of these types of grips like this. So these are called things like easy grips. Oh, spray paint can holder, spray holders, comfort grips, did I say that? I don't know. Things like that. If you enter that into some kind of search parameter, it'll come up if you're picking these up online. But any place they sell a lot of spray paints, like in hardware stores, a lot of times this is, these types of things are in that same department. So, you know, Home Depot, Lowe's, any type of Ace Hardware type place. But how this goes on here is you just see how that kind of goes on like that, and you just kind of squeeze it on. This is plastic. Get that aimed where it's going out like that, and then you have this really convenient wand. And I feel it's very comfortable, and I don't know, I mean, I feel that I get kind of a smoother application of it just for the sheer comfort of this handle like this. I don't know, there's something kind of spraying like that. I don't know. When I'm spraying these things, you know, I might be spraying, 20, 30 scenes, so it's not like just like one, you know. If I was just doing one, you don't need the handle or something like that, or a couple at a time. But anyways, I just have a couple grips like this, and I tend to leave it on there. I'll have to get a separate one for my workable fixative, or no, I guess I have another one, but this one, okay, so this one I'm going to use on my matte paper scenes that I do, and I've been doing a lot with the things like the hybrid inks, the Moonlight Duos, where it gives it a flat looking kind of end result, because I'm doing it on flat paper, and the Moonlight Duos kind of have more of a pastel-y, oil pastel look to them, and I like that look. If I sprayed it with this, a gloss spray, you can make matte pieces look glossy. If you spray glossy scenes with a workable fixative, chances are it'll look more matte if you hit it enough with that. But both of these will saturate the tones and whatnot, but I want to retain kind of that flat, matte style of finish that I get from just using those hybrid inks on matte paper raw before sealing. So I've been spraying with the glossy clear, but I'll be spraying it with the workable fixative now. So there might be some kind of just acrylic coatings that are matte, and I think I might have seen that in the store, but most of them are gloss, so you get more of the workable fixative types of things that are matte. But it will saturate your colors and everything like that, just like the gloss will, but you get to retain that kind of nice, kind of more satiny type of finish using something like this. So Anyways, a couple different cans here. Should set me up. These things last for quite a while. It depends on the sizes of your cards and how many, how thick you apply the acrylic over them. Short of something like this, if you don't find like art sprays and you don't want to order them online or whatever, if you can't find them in a nearby kind of a convenient location, you can go to a hardware store and buy things like canned polyurethanes, urethane sprays, and usually if you see like a gigantic selection of, you know, color spray paints or something like that, you'll find one that has a clear coating like this. And usually it is, you know, some sort of a, you know, spray sealant or whatever, just a clear gloss, and you can use that as well. And in a pinch, as I've mentioned in my spraying videos, sometimes people have actually used things like hairspray, you know. And that works fine. It's not going to be archival or anything like that. It might yellow, but you know what I mean? If you don't care if something yellows after, you know, years and years or, you know, whatnot, I tend to not care that much, but I don't know. I do care a little bit, but I don't really care if something kind of yellows, you know, 30 years from now or something like that. I don't know. I just assume get one of these. One of these cans goes a really long way, and I can probably get, I don't know, 100 or something scenes using one can with, you know, with a fairly decent amount of coating on each one of the scenes. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, drop me a note in the comment section.